I request all the panelists to kindly come and take their places on the dais. I request the panelists to kindly come and take their places on the dais. सारे panelists से निवेदन है, आप कृपया मंच पर अपने स्थान ग्रहण करें. Ladies and gentlemen, kindly take your seats, and if there are any panelists here, kindly take your places on the dais. ठीक है, फिर लेक्चर है, इसको भी नीचे रखिए, मेरे सारा बोलने के बाद रखिएगा. Ladies and gentlemen, kindly take your seats. We are about to start the first plenary session. सेकंड वाला नहीं होगा,
निफ्टम नहीं हो रहा है.
हाँ,
तो यहाँ पे चलो तो यहाँ
सेकंड नहीं
निफ्टम इज नॉट हैपनिंग. आई डोंट रिमेंबर इफ इट वाज फर्स्ट और सेकंड.
That was the second one. That I know.
ऑलराइट.
जिसमें वाइस चांसलर वो आ रहे हैं,
इसलिए वो नहीं हो रहा है.
वो काट दूंगी. अच्छा, सेकंड में शुरू में सिर्फ 5 होंगे, उसके बाद डिस्कशन शुरू होगा.
Yes, that's what they told me will be the.
बस पूरी चेयर्स नहीं हैं, 14 लोग हैं और इसमें 13 ही हैं. इस सेशन में सारे लोग ऊपर आ रहे हैं
हाँ.
और फिर हो रहा है. आपके सेशन में I was given to understand first we'll have those
That's what they
5
told me. Those
हाँ.
5 people, and then you will
And then we
invite the
say
panel.
thank you, and then I'll invite the panel
Yes.
and hand over the session to you.
Precisely. Chalo, all the best. You're doing great.
Thank you. कौन-कौन नहीं है? कौन-कौन नहीं है? हरसिमरत जी हैं?
नहीं, हरसिमरत जी नहीं है.
हाँ.
और
कहते हैं she will be joining us.
हाँ, she will be joining us. She is with the and Mr. JP Meena भी उनके साथ है.
हाँ, the
Rest
panel.
everybody is there.
Everybody is here?
Rest everybody is there.
JP Meena ji. ठीक है.
So you start with Deepak Bangla.
हैं?
Deepak Bangla to start with because वो understand है. तो I can't run the conference. If you could remove the laptop from here.
Just I have a lot of names to speak.
Ma'am, that is okay, ma'am, but the laptop is something which can't be moved in and out because अगर आप laptop को
मुझे सिर्फ फर्स्ट किले में हटा रही हूँ बस, बिकॉज मेरे बहुत नाम वो है, बंद हो रहा है, बंद करके रखना है तो रख दीजिए.
हाँ बंद करके मैम ये इसको बिकॉज ये अगर चीज़ जैसे इसकी कोई केबल एक अगर हिल गई तो मेरे को प्रॉब्लम है.
It's okay, but I cannot have it open because my papers are going to come.
ठीक है.
खोलिए बात.
Let me just check. I'll give you a solution. Okay, so can you put your papers here?
Keys दबेंगे, it's okay, and
No,
this
there is
mic
no
is not
problem.
coming here.
That's okay. There are 2 mics more than sufficient.
Okay.
ठीक है ना?
We're starting with this session. Ladies and gentlemen, kindly take your seats. We are starting with this session. Ladies and gentlemen, we are starting the session. Kindly take your seats. Good afternoon, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. On the occasion of World Food India 2017, a very warm welcome to you. The theme of the first plenary session is India, the Preferred Investment Destination. We are honored to have with us on this occasion Mr. Arun Jaitley, Honorable Minister for Finance and Corporate Affairs, Government of India, who is chairing this session. The Honorable Minister for Food Processing Industries, Government of India, Srimati Harsimrat Kaur Badal, will be joining us. Mr. Deepak Bagla is the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer in West India. We have with us Mr. Ramesh Abhishek, Secretary, Department of Industrial Policy and Promotion, Government of India. Mr. J.P. Meena, Secretary, Ministry of Food Processing Industries, Government of India, will be joining us. Mr. Amitabh Kant, Chief Executive Officer, Niti Aayog. Mr. Sanjeev Puri, Executive Director, ITC Limited. Mr. Yusuf Ali Ma, Chairman and Managing Director, Lulu Group International. Mr. Peter Bune, Chief Operating Officer, Metro AG and Chief Executive Officer, Metro Cash and Carry. Acharya Balakrishna, Managing Director, Patanjali Ayurved Limited. Mr. Sanjeev Mehta, Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer, Hindustan Unilever Limited. Mr. Kim Forsing, President and Chief Executive Officer, Danfoss. And Mr. Irwin D. Simon, President and Chief Executive Officer of Hen Celestial, Inc. I first request Mr. Deepak Bagla, Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer in West India, to kindly speak on the occasion.
Working now. Morning, everyone. Morning, Mr. Minister, sir, our Honorable Finance Minister, Shri Amitabh Kant, Shri Ramesh Abhishek, dignitaries on the dais, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Team Invest India, it is my privilege to welcome you to the new India. And before I start that, I must thank all the industry doyens here. We actually owe our daily bread to you, so a very special thank you to all the industry captains here. I mentioned New India, and you heard in the morning the Prime Minister mention about it and the others, about the fastest growth we've had in the ease of doing business rankings. And when I talk about New India, it is not just about the fastest growth. It is about the fastest transformation ever experienced in the free world in human history. And let me just share with you a few glimpses of what the new India of 2025 is expected to be. By 2023, we will be 1.5 billion in human capital. 1 billion of those will be under the age of 30. As an average age of 29, ladies and gentlemen, we will be the youngest nation on the planet all the way up to 2070. 850 million of those would be a part of our manpower, the trained manpower that would make us the largest reservoir of trained manpower on the planet. We today are an economy of $2.3 trillion GDP. In PPP terms, we are about 8 trillion, which makes us the third largest. By 2025, we'll be 4.5 trillion. PPP terms, we're looking at about 18 trillions, the size of America today. And just to share a figure with you, an Indian born in 2000 would be spending $180,000 in his or her lifetime. Just multiply that by 1.5 billion, and you'll have an idea on what this market is about. And adding on to the market, I don't think there'll be any other market currently where you can get 100 million customers, 100 million new customers in 170 days, which is what has just happened in India recently with a telecom company. It is also now the fastest growing R&D hub of the world. In fact, today, India is number one in the number of R&D centers outside of their home countries. And most importantly, with a running rate of 4 startups a day, India today is now one of the fastest growing startup nations. And we are already number 2, and we are expecting by 2020-21 to be the fastest in the number of startups and the number of new ideas coming into fore. It is said that 70% of India of 2030 is yet to be constructed. It is a fact. Every minute, 30 people are moving from a village to a city in India. In the next 7 years, we would have had 350 million people. We would have moved from a rural to an urban setting. All that makes us probably one of the best and the most interesting FDI opportunities. And today, indeed, we are one of the most open foreign direct investment destinations of the world. What I thought I'll just share with you, Invest India as the National Investment Promotion and Facilitation Agency, just to share with you actually what is the interest, the consumer interest and the investor interest, which we witnessed in the past 36 months. We've done 100,000 queries from 115 countries across 47 sectors. And ladies and gentlemen, the sector which remains on top of all these 47, and by far a huge lead and margin of 23%, is food processing. This is a sector which has immense potential, which has immense interest from investors across the globe. And within that, if I'm looking at the top 5 countries where we are getting these impulses from, it is the US, UAE, Italy, China, Australia, and a number of other pack of 7 countries which are catching up very fast. But very interestingly, on the subsectors, the interest is equally divided. We are looking at processing, the entire value chain development, agriculture and agri-related, cold storage, retail, a segment where we're seeing a lot of new interest coming in, and logistics. You would have heard earlier, ladies and gentlemen, that in the past 3 years, India has received $160 billion of FDI. It's probably the highest on the planet. More interestingly, half of that FDI is greenfield investment, which makes the biggest sign that the investor now is looking at a long-term relationship with India. And you know what was interesting of that 160 billion? Over 90% of that came without any approval. What we call is the automatic approval of India. There is a lot we have here to offer, ladies and gentlemen. The startup part of the country has just begun, which is not just to create for India, but to create ideas for the entire world. The story for us has just begun. Invest India is the National Investment Promotion and Facilitation Agency. It's the first point of call for any investor. It's a single point of call for any investor looking at India. They provide services across the entire investment life cycle, starting from identifying an opportunity to helping you develop your business plan, to helping you get your regulatory approvals, a partner both for land as well as your partnerships, and then being with you right through your journey of India. The story of India, ladies and gentlemen, has just begun. Join us, let's write it together. Thank you very much.
I now invite Mr. Ramesh Abhishek, Secretary, Department of Industrial Policy and Promotion, Government of India, and request him to speak on ease of doing business.
Very good afternoon, Honorable Minister for Finance and Corporate Affairs, Mr. Amitabh Kant, dignitaries on the dais and in the audience, captains of industry, ladies and gentlemen. Today you have heard the Honorable Prime Minister in the inaugural session about the commitment to creating a business-friendly climate in India. When this government took over in 2014, our Prime Minister gave a target to us, to the government machinery, that we have to make India the easiest place to do business in. This has started since a kind of ease of doing business movement in the country. The same people who earlier thought that having a lot of complex procedures is the way to protect public interest are experiencing a complete change of mindset today. We are using technology to provide governance. In the World Bank Doing Business report, what you have seen is only one example of the kind of path-breaking work that is being done in terms of dismantling the legacy of complex processes, paperwork, running around government offices, no timelines for any approval. The World Bank has recognized the reforms done in the last two years plus, but we are working on so many more. Just give you a few examples to illustrate the kind of work that is being done. Till last year, incorporating a company in India and getting a PAN number and TAN number essential from the income tax department was taking 16 days. There were 5 procedures for company incorporation: getting a name reservation done, getting a director identification number, PAN and TAN. From this year, the Ministry of Corporate Affairs and the Department of Revenue, they merged all the 5 processes into one. So you apply online, you get your company incorporated and all these things done in just one day. To provide the back end, then they set up a team of 75 professionals working on getting this done. So they get almost about 900 to 1,000 applications every day, and these 75 professionals do the job in the back end. That is the way technology is being used. Process re-engineering is being done. Rules and regulations are being amended, changed, or made to improve the ease of doing business. Till 3 years back, we ranked 137 in the World Bank Doing Business report for giving electricity connections. Today, we are at 29. We are one of the fastest countries in giving electricity connections. Actually, the reforms that we have done and which we had claimed would have brought us into top 5. But then we are sure that this will be recognized next year and actually will be in top 5 so far as giving electricity connection is concerned. Construction permit was one of the most complex processes for starting business. You wanted to construct something, it used to take years. There were too many procedures, running around offices, going to maybe 15 or 20 departments to get your no objection certificates and so on. 2 years back, the municipal corporations in Delhi, in Mumbai, and at least 17 more states in the country, they have only online systems for applying for construction permit. All the departments where you had to approach individually earlier, they are all integrated with this online system. So you apply online along with your map, and all the necessary information goes to the concerned departments, and they have to give their comments within a few days. And if you don't get any permit or don't hear anything from anyone, there is a deemed approval and a digitally signed construction permit is sent to you on your email. This is the kind of complete break from the past that is being done. We did not have a proper insolvency and bankruptcy code, and now we have one since last year. And the entire tribunals, the set of insolvency and bankruptcy board, the set of professionals, all the institutions were created, manned, and became operational in less than 1 year. This has led to a 33 rank jump in the insolvency resolution in the World Bank Doing Business report. And this story is not complete without talking about what the states are doing. We all know that actually businesses are done in the states. So they have a very critical role, whether you start business or whether you operate business. or you enforce a contract, you register property. 2 years back, this department, my predecessor, Mr. Amitabh Kant, started a process of ranking of states on ease of doing business. He started a 285-point action plan in 2015, and the states were being ranked. Next year, 2016, we had a 340-point action plan, and this year we have a 372-point action plan. And since last year, the states are being ranked on a public portal in a very transparent way, on a real-time basis, to show as to what they are doing or they are not doing. The kind of competitive federalism that we are witnessing today among states, the kind of enthusiasm we are seeing among a lot of civil servants to outdo each other in simplifying processes, in using technology, is seen to be believed. And it's only it's a work in progress. No one is claiming that we are there already. We have done a good amount of work, and we are aware that we have to do a lot more. But the mindset change, use of technology, this political commitment starting from the Prime Minister himself, and a gradually energized bureaucracy and involvement of the people is changing the landscape of ease of doing business in India. And one of the strengths of our movement has been involving the people, taking continuously feedback from our stakeholders as to whether the reforms are working. Earlier, perhaps the dialogue was not there. We did not have much engagement. The government machinery did the reforms, and then they waited for somebody to come and assess them. No more. We are talking to people, getting to hear from them. We sat for hundreds of hours in last 1 year. Myself, I've sat and understood the issues and the problems, that the online systems are not working. We still have to go somewhere. And based on the feedback, we are actually improving our systems and processes and the rules. Then only the World Bank doesn't rank any country based on the government's feedback. It ranks countries based on only the stakeholder feedback, and stakeholders in this case are the users of the systems. And this is the feedback we are using this year to also rank states. Till now, we had not taken user feedback for ranking of states on ease of doing business. And we are already hearing that all the states are reaching out to the users and the businesses and the industries to talk to them and find out as to whether the reforms are working. So just to sum up, this ease of doing business movement in the country makes India a very easy place to work in. Until we make it the easiest place, you have got investment promotion agencies. We have Invest India. In 2 years, they are working on more than 500 specific FDI deals of more than $85 billion US. And the kind of hand-holding they are doing, the kind of monitoring that is being done in consultation with the state governments, the ministries concerned, and the embassies abroad is really quite remarkable. And in many states, we have got investment promotion agencies. They are also doing a great job. So I would appeal to you to consider India for investment. Food processing is an absolutely fantastic sector. You have heard about it in the inaugural session. And the ease of doing business, work that is being done, will bring down the cost for you. It will make you more competitive. And the kind of welcoming environment now you have, the red carpet that you expect, will be there for you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
I now request Mr. J.P. Meena, Secretary, Ministry for Food Processing Industries, Government of India, to kindly speak on the occasion and throw light on the theme of the session.
Honorable Finance Minister, Honorable Minister for Food Processing Industries, ladies and gentlemen. This is a presentation on the scenario of food processing industry present and likely to be there in near future. India is a fast growing country. As you know, it's one of the fastest growing economy in the major economies of the world. It's the third largest in terms of purchasing power parity. The government in last few years has taken a number of initiatives which has made it very easy to do business in India. Especially food processing sector has been a sector of focus, and these number of initiatives have led to a lot of activities and investment in this sector. A large number of reforms have been carried out. Liberalization of FDI policy has increased interest of the foreign investment in this sector, and digitization, GST, Skill India programs have created supporting infrastructure and environment. All the state governments are also competing to reform the sector and make it easy to do business. In overall economy, more than 7,000 reforms have been carried out by the state, and 1,200 obsolete acts have been abolished by Government of India to make it easy for the business to prosper. India has emerged as a preferred FDI destination. It has ranked first in the world in 2016 in greenfield investment. The overall FDI flow has been 60 billion USD in 2016-17. India has a huge potential for retail trade, particularly in food business. The present retail trade size is about 1.3 trillion, is about 600 billion, which is likely to be there about 1.3 trillion by 2020. 70% of this is the food retail. This offers a huge opportunity for the retail business in food products. The market size for the food is likely to be there about 543 billion in 2020. So this is with the population of 1.3 billion and middle class growing, the shifting of the choice from the fresh food to packaged and processed food, creating a huge market for the food processing business. India has a very unique advantage of variety of agroclimatic zones, right from temperate climate to the tropical. And round the year, certain crops can be produced in some part of the India, making sure for the industry to have their raw material round the year. We have been very successful in production of milk, and this has largely been based on the cooperative model. The farmer has become partner in the growth story. The mechanism for pricing which has been developed for milk is very transparent and dependable, and that has created confidence amongst the farmers to connect themselves to the industry. We hope similar models will develop in the fruits and vegetables also, where we are number 2 today, and very soon when farmers get connected and get right price of their produce, we'll achieve the position of number 1, as we have done in the milk also. Grain, we have been one of the largest producer, but our value addition, particularly in organized sector, has been very low, and there is a huge scope of adding value through different products in grain processing also. Fish and marine is one area which has huge potential. The processing levels are very low presently, though our production base is huge, and we are exporting to more than 100 countries fish or seafood products. So there is a huge opportunity of doing business in this sector also. Poultry and egg, this is the most popular product as far as non-vegetarian food item is concerned. Whoever eats non-veg loves poultry products, and the world over there are big players in this sector having technology with zero waste. India will welcome such technologies where no wastage is there, and if it is connected to the farmers, there can be win-win situation for both farmers and the business. The large growing food market in India offers again a huge opportunity. The growing size of the food industry output is an example of the interest the business houses having in this sector. The present industry output size is about 193 billion USD, which is likely to be there about 575 billion in 2025. So there will be enormous jump in next few years. The consumption pattern changing due to rising urbanization, diversifying food basket, shifting towards convenience food, particularly of younger generation, which is creating huge demand for the processed foods. The large market size, everybody knows the population size of India, 1.3 billion, and large part of its younger generation, which is also having disposable income and willing to experiment. Growing consumption is also an opportunity to do business. The present consumption size is about more than 400 billion USD, which is likely to be there about 1.1 trillion by 2025. The government has provided various policy supports. These has been highlighted during the inaugural session also. I need not to go through. This has created very conducive environment. Again, we have an enormous production, but our processing levels are low. The losses are very high, particularly in supply chain, which is again an opportunity for the businesses to do and come forward and invest in this sector, and they do their business profitably. Sector growing at 12% annually, which is much more than the many other sectors. Cold chain gap is estimated 3 million metric ton in horticulture produce alone, creating huge requirement for technology or machinery in value chain. The machinery market is going to be huge in near future. Of course, there are number of fiscal incentives which are available on our portals and website of the ministry in income tax, custom duty on imported machineries, and also the infrastructure which ministry with the government support is creating. Government is also creating huge infrastructure. About 100 billion USD is being invested in Delhi-Mumbai Industrial Corridor, and similar more corridors are being planned. Bharatmala project is also a project which creates infrastructure and around creating clusters near ports. In many states, there is a huge land bank in terms of industrial parks and SEZs, and governments in states and center are facilitating investment in the food processing sector particularly. You have seen it. We have launched a Nivesh Bandhu, which provides information at one spot, and very unique feature is geotagged information of district resources in a real-time basis. All this offers a tremendous opportunity for investment in food processing units, manufacturing of equipments and machinery, infrastructure, cold chain logistics, sourcing of food produce, R&D and skilling. This is the right time to look at India and do your business with. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Harsimrat Kaur Badal, the Honorable Minister for Food Processing Industries, Government of India, is a dynamic and a committed leader who has been the guiding spirit behind this mega event. I invite her to deliver her special address.
Honorable Finance Minister of India, Shri Arun Jaitley ji, dignitaries on the dais, captains of the industry, ladies and gentlemen. My warm and sincere welcome to all of you at the round table here today with the Honorable Finance Minister, Shri Arun Jaitley ji at World Food India. We are all proud that we are joined by a very special leader today, an astute and visionary statesman. Mr. Arun Jaitley understands the ground level realities which are crucial for taking India's growth to a higher orbit. A man with a mission, the game-changing initiatives and reforms undertaken by him have placed the nation on a fast track. As a result, India is now regarded as a beacon of hope amidst challenging global environment. The minister has placed India on the path to prudent fiscal management, restrained inflation, brought tax stability and predictability. All this has been noted by the international investors. What is more, under his guidance, India has emerged as a most liberal destination for foreign investment. In the last 3 years, FDI inflows into India have increased by 60%. The implementation of the GST has been a transformational reform which has led to the subsuming of most of the country's central and state level duties and taxes, making the country a national market, contributing significantly to the growth of the economy and bringing down the overall costs of goods and services. It is indeed an episcopal of reform in the field of indirect taxes in the country. The sincere determination and the persistent efforts of the entire government and especially the Honorable Finance Minister in consensus building and gaining support of almost all political parties in reaching an agreement is indeed commendable. The quantum leap in India's rank on the World Bank Ease of Doing Business Report 2018 from number 130 to a landmark 100 this year is reflective of the commitment and the hard work involved and the extensive reforms initiated under the Finance Minister's guidance. The huge improvement in ranking and score will help boost investor sentiments and help India emerge as an attractive destination for investment. In addition, the policies for addressing our deficiencies in infrastructure, recent initiatives to address the twin balance sheet problem, reforms in the finance sector, among others, are comprehensive and help improve our overall business environment. Introduction of the bankruptcy bill and the establishment of the National Infrastructure Investment Fund are other notable measures undertaken. What's more, reforms in agriculture, direct benefit transfer, Jan Dhan and Mudra schemes for financial inclusion are transformative by themselves. Time is too short to mention the wide range of policies which have been implemented. The reform initiatives undertaken by the government has yielded a definite and positive spillover effects for food processing sector. FDI to the extent of 100% is permitted through the automatic in the manufacture of food products. The liberal norms also apply to FDI in trading, including through e-commerce for food products manufactured or processed in India, where 100% equity is permitted. No wonder since the opening up of the sector, we have received investment as much as $727 million into the sector, which is a 40% increase since last year itself. During the course of this roundtable, we would discuss more on the issues. We would also welcome your feedback. The food processing sector has also been accorded with financial incentives. Food processing units can avail preferential rates under the priority sector lending. A special fund of 2,000 crores, which equals to approximately $300 million, with NABARD has specially been created and set up for designated food parks and processing units to give them credit at cheaper rates. And for the first time, to enhance access to affordable finance for the sector, it has also been proposed that we set up a fund or a food processing bank, which is under consideration and talks. Similarly, I'm happy to share that most of the food products under the new GST regime have been taxed at lower rates, and under the recent GST regime, 60% of the food products taxed are at 0 or 5% within that range. Such policies and many more have given rise to a plethora of opportunities in the food processing sector. The fact that we process only 10% of the produce that we produce in our country also underscores the huge potential that India still has and the huge amount of opportunities that are available for partnering and collaborating for companies looking to increase their footprints, looking for newer markets. India offers that destination. Being one of the fastest growing economies, ease of doing business, in the food processing sector, the kind of infrastructure that is being set up, which has been promoted to create an environment over the last 3 years to ensure that this sector may flourish, and at the same time, allowing 100% FDI in retail of food is also moving towards creating the markets that this infrastructure can feed. I'm sure before this you must have seen in the presentation how India is one of the largest producers of food. We are working to getting and collaborating that the best of infrastructure comes in. The new incentives that have been given most recently by the Honorable Prime Minister and the Finance Minister were almost incentives worth $1 billion to leverage investment worth $5 billion is going to be distributed over the next 3 years to create infrastructure right from farm gate level up to the retail level. So I think keeping in mind all the opportunities that we have, keeping in mind the $600 billion retail sector that exists in India today, set to treble to $1.3 trillion by 2020, the next 3 years, 70% of it being in food retail, the kind of opportunities that are available in India, there are very few markets that people looking for new opportunities can turn to. So keeping all this in mind, I welcome all the suggestions and let's work together to collaborate, to grow, to reap, to prosper and to partner and ensure that while India works towards transforming its own food economy, we collaborate with like-minded partners to transform other economies as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Arun Jaitley, the Honorable Minister for Finance and Corporate Affairs, Government of India, who is also chairing this session, is a senior leader who has served the nation in various capacities for over 4 decades. May I request you, sir, to kindly address the distinguished gathering.
My colleague, Mrs. Harsimrat Kaur Badal, other distinguished persons on the dais, distinguished guests, dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen. Let me take this opportunity to welcome all of you who have traveled from all over the world to attend the World Food India convention, which is being organized by Mrs. Badal and her colleagues. It's indeed a great opportunity to showcase India, to showcase India's economy, to showcase the potential for investment in India, and equally important to showcase the kind of food we have in India. And I'm sure in the course of the day, many of you will get a full flavor of that. A lot has been spoken since morning about India that is emerging. And therefore, why in various sectors, and particularly the sector relating to food processing and preservation of food, investors both within the country and outside must have a serious look at it. I just want to briefly re-emphasize the point that this is one area in India which over the next few years is going to see a sea change. And that change is visible. It took us time as a society which was more regulated by law to open up. But when we did open up and came out of regulation and became a more market-centric society, India has shown a great propensity to accept that change and acknowledge the advantages of the new course that it has accepted. And therefore, India is one country which almost at regular intervals keeps introspecting as to what further changes and improvements in India which are the kinds which are required. Mr. Deepak Bagla mentioned, rightly so, the very size of India. And in terms of the size of India, it's the geographical size of India. It's the size of India which is its population. 1/6 of the world's food consuming people are here. That, of course, is very major. As a part of the sub-size of that population, you have a middle class which is expanding, which has a large purchasing power. And a silent revolution is visible that below that middle class, very quickly, slowly but surely, an aspirational class is also building up. And that class also has a reasonable amount of purchasing power which has been building up. And all the reforms that India has been attempting, in fact, the recent report of the World Bank on the ease of doing business had a chapter where it mentioned 10 countries which had attempted structural reforms. 9 of them were smaller countries, island states and others. The only major country they mentioned was India. I mention this because India today has also displayed a great capacity to take difficult decisions. Normally, political leadership would balance out the cost-output ratio and say, well, some decisions could be deferred even if they are in larger national interests. There's a political cost to it. But then to take major economic decisions, because in the medium and the long term they are going to help the economy, India is a country which has now shown its capacity and ability to take a decision. Our decision to, in much greater length, to formalize the Indian economy, it had an impact on the manner in which every Indian spends his money. Our decision to overhaul the entire taxation system of India. Our decision to overhaul the entire manner in which the weaker sections of society are going to be subsidized. Are they going to be subsidized by just subverting the prices, which could be benefited by all, including those who don't deserve it? Or these could be specifically targeted subsidies? Now, these are extremely difficult decisions for a political establishment to take, but we did take them. And I have not the least doubt in my mind that each one of them is eventually going to bring larger benefits to India. And if we look at the roadmap that we have for economic development today, in terms of sheer infrastructure creation, as we assemble here, there are over 250 highways under construction. There are about 35 to 40 new airports being added. There's a process of 400 odd railway stations being modernized. Each village in India is being connected through a regular road. Each village home by 2019 will be provided with an electricity. If these are the targets, obviously these targets are going to raise the quality of life of India. And if India's GDP is going to increase, the obvious areas where the increase in the GDP is going to come from is areas where we've not been able to exploit the potential till today. There are areas in the east where development had been relatively slower, so there is a much greater potential there. the role of more women working, adding to the workforce itself. As literacy picks up, their contribution is going to be increasingly picking up. The quality of life is going to pick up. There's going to be, with all the physical infrastructure, a larger migration taking place, which was earlier referred to from the rural areas to the urban areas. And one of the absolute impacts of these changes is going to be on lifestyles of people. And therefore, what happens to the traditional concept of agriculture and the farm to the kitchen relationship itself, as in many other countries in the world, is going to undergo a change. It's already visible in large parts of urban India. And with every passing year, it's going to be more and more visible. How do we increase the productivity at the farm end? How do we have the better storage facilities? How do we process it more? What kind of foods find preference with the consumers? And I think there is with a number of people waiting to receive that food, our infrastructure that it exists today, a number of private sector companies in action today, will be woefully short of where we are to be. And therefore, in any economy, the most sensible investor to me is the one who in 2017 doesn't look at what India is in 2017, but would like to look at what India will be in 2040 and India will be in 2050. So with the population, the socio-economic capacity of that population, the width of that population, the attitudes of that population, the social habits of those populations, I think it's in 2017 we have to start thinking of this group in 2040 and 2050. And if we keep that in mind, I think this is going to be one industry which is going to be one of the principal industries as far as India is concerned. And I'm sure when Mrs. Badal speaks in terms of smaller amounts coming from NABARD to give a push to the industry, these will then sound like a very meager amount, because that's the kind of investment which people will want to put into this industry. We have the agriculture, we have the products. How do we take it to its logical conclusion? I think it's the right time in 2017 that we've assembled here. And therefore, keeping the fact that India is willing for a change, India is changing. India, not only are our doors open, those who come in, not merely do they get a red carpet, but they also, the experience of our investors have been that they've always gone back as happy investors. And I'm sure those who enter this sector will also have the same experience. Thank you very much once again, and thank you for having invited me.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now have a panel discussion on experience of doing business in India. The moderator of the session is Shri Amitabh Kant, CEO, Niti Aayog. May I request him to kindly take over the proceedings of this session.
So, ladies and gentlemen, it's already 10 past 1. We'll cut out all the speeches. We'll get into a panel discussion. We'll shoot questions. And after that, after about 20 minutes, I'll open it up to the floor, and you can grill all the panelists here straight away. So let me first start off with Mr. Balakrishnan, Acharya Balakrishnan. Balakrishnan ji, ये आपने क्या किया है कि ये ITC और हिंदुस्तान यूनिलीवर इन दोनों का मार्केट आप इतना फास्ट ट्रैक कर रहे हैं और आपका मार्केट शेयर बढ़ता चला जा रहा है और इन दोनों को आप इतना कंपटीशन दे रहे हैं।
धन्यवाद। माननीय मंत्रीगणों का मैं उनको प्रणाम करता हूं, धन्यवाद। बाकी आप सबका भी मेरा बहुत धन्यवाद है। यहाँ पर अभी आप उपस्थित हैं। हमने देश को व्यवसाय करने का साधन नहीं, देश को निरोग करने के लिए इस देश में से हम क्या कर सकते हैं, हम इस संकल्प के साथ आगे बढ़े थे। हमने ये नहीं सोचा हम कितने बड़े होंगे, हमने ये सोचा।
Can we have the एक second? Can we have the translation because some of our guests are not able to get the. If you can quickly get that.
शुरू हो जाऊं?
Sure, please.
तो हमने ये सोचा था कि हम इस देश के लिए क्या कर सकते हैं। लोगों की समस्याओं का समाधान हमारे लिए लक्ष्य था। पतंजलि आयुर्वेद का प्रारंभ, आप में से बहुत सारे भाई बहन जो देश के हैं वो जानते हैं, विदेश के मेहमानों की जानकारी के लिए, कि कुछ फार्मर्स अपने प्रॉब्लम्स लेकर के हमारे पास आए थे। स्वामी जी ने कहा कि हमको आंवला जूस बनाना चाहिए जिससे इस आंवले की किसानों की समस्या है उसका निराकरण हो जाए। वहां पर हमने कभी सोचा नहीं था कि हम कितने बड़े होंगे। हमने ये सोचा था कि ये किसानों की समस्या है, उस समस्या को हमको समाधान करने के लिए जो हम कर सकते हैं हमको करना चाहिए। पतंजलि आज जहां पहुंचा है वह पतंजलि के पुरुषार्थ या टीम का पुरुषार्थ तो अपनी जगह है, पर मैं ये मानता हूं कि लोगों की स्वीकार्यता ने पतंजलि को आगे बढ़ाया और वही स्वीकार्यता हमारी ताकत है, हमारी शक्ति है। और हम लोगों को, देश को, दुनिया के मनुष्य को हम बाजार नहीं समझते हैं, हम अपना परिवार समझते हैं। इसी भाव से पतंजलि योगपीठ काम करता है। यही पतंजलि योगपीठ की ताकत है, पतंजलि आयुर्वेद की, यही हमारा मंत्र है और यही हमारा संकल्प भी है।
धन्यवाद, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। लेट मी नाउ टर्न टू मिस्टर संजीव पुरी, हु इज द CEO of ITC. Sanjeev, we are the largest or the second largest producer of many agricultural commodities. Despite this, the level of processing is low. Only 2% of fruits and vegetables are processed, heavy post-harvest losses. What do we need to do and what is ITC doing in this regard?
Okay. Thank you. Let me start off by saying that we are extremely inspired by the vision of the Honorable Prime Minister to transform India into an economic powerhouse. All the reforms that the Honorable Finance Minister has brought in, which is really going to take the economy into a further growth trajectory, and all the interventions that the Honorable Food Processing Minister has made in this sector. So we are extremely optimistic with all that is happening, and as some of my earlier speakers have said, India's time is today. So we believe that the opportunity is great. It is for us to really take the opportunity and run with it. And I'm happy to say that we are going to invest over 10,000 crores in setting up food processing facilities on a pan-India basis. This is after several of them have been commissioned in the last 2 or 3 years. And we hope to have a pan-India presence with about 20 facilities. And commensurate investments will be made in the agriculture sector through our eChopal model, which empowers 4 million farmers. And our aspiration is that we will take this number to 10 million over a period of time. And we're going to not only work with farmers on productivity and quality, but work for sustainable agriculture. Already our efforts on watershed irrigate over 800,000 acres of land, and we hope to increase the number substantially over time. Our experience has been, while the agriculture sector has certain challenges, but they are backed up by a farming community who is very hardworking, very resilient, has lived through extremely challenging times, and you just need to handhold him and you can transform, the whole sector. There are innumerable examples I can recount, but for paucity of time, I will not do that. Just to say we have decades of experience, and I can say that it's very easy to transform. The other piece that one requires to be able to leverage this opportunity is the right investment in research and development. So we are backing it up with substantial investments in finding local solutions and innovative solutions for local agriculture problems and developing healthy and nutritious food for the Indian consumer. So to sum it all, I think the opportunity is there. We have to just seize the opportunity, invest, and take benefit of that opportunity for our stakeholders, for the benefit of the farmers. We can also contribute towards inclusive growth. I think the environment could not have been any better. It is as good as it can get. So I would say the opportunity is now. Let us seize it and invest. Thank you.
Thanks, Sanjeev. We have with us Mr. Yusuf Ali. He's got a $7 billion turnover. 80% of that is food and food products. I mean, his business spread all over the world. What makes India special, Mr. Yusuf Ali? I mean, how have you grown so fast and so rapidly with your hyper malls and your super malls in India?
Thank you very much. First of all, let me sincerely thank Government of India and our Honorable Minister of Food Processing for inviting me to this distinguished panel. And thank you very much, Honorable Finance Minister, how Finance Minister liberalized the policy of investing in India by NRIs. NRIs investment is treated as domestic investment. That is a great thing by Honorable Prime Minister and Honorable Finance Minister. Thank you for that. That encouraging non-resident Indians to come back to India and invest in this great country. See, first of all, I want to introduce myself as one of the leading retailer in the Middle East. We have got 138 hypermarkets and shopping malls. Our turnover is rightly our Honorable Mr. Amitabh Kant, CEO of Niti Aayog, and I know him since 25 years. He is from Kerala Cadre, and he transformed one city as Calicut, changed it to a different model. So I congratulate him. So out of the $7 billion, that means 45,500 crore, 80%, that means 5.5 billion, 35,750 crores in food business. And from India, we import about 3,000 crore Indian rupees worth of goods. That is spices and pulse and these fruits and vegetable, including processed food like idli, roti, dosha, all types of food. If anybody visited any of my hypermarkets in the GCC or Indonesia or Malaysia, you can see the Indian products, including Indian parota there in my shops. So I just want to mention about the productivity and also how opportunities India has got for exporting all these products. In 365 days, we will get mango because of our geographical condition. We will get berries 365 days. We will get apples or tropical fruits in all 1 year. So the problem that now we are facing is lack of logistic and also in the cold store and chill rooms, etc. If we increase this, our Indian export can be 10 times more than what we are now. So that's why, see, how I rapidly increased, because food is an essential commodity. And in GCC countries and Far East, now hypermarket, now the organized retailing, the era is increasing. And also for the young, new generation, they want to see the product. And customers also, consumers want to see how the food ingredients and how this preserved, how this processed, They want to see the product and select. So that's why we are increasing our hypermarkets again.
Thank you, Mr. Yusuf Ali. We have with us Mr. Sanjeev Mehta, who is the CEO and Managing Director of Hindustan Unilever. I mean, Levers is the market leader in Indian fast-moving consumer products. 9 out of 10 Indian households use his products every day. So Sanjeev, with these young demographics, 70% of our population below the age of 35, how do you see the shift towards ready-to-eat and packaged food? And what is Levers doing in this regard? And what is your fear from companies like Patanjali?
All right. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Let me first address the latter part of your question. India is such an attractive destination that we have to accept that it's not a zero-sum game. Indian consumers, for them, good competitors is absolutely the right thing. We observe all our competitors, but Mr. Kant, our obsession is with the Indian consumers. That's what we focus on. India is absolutely such an attractive destination by any yardstick that you look at. Yeah, the absolute quantum of population that we have. 20% of the population is real middle class with huge aspiration, ambition. We are talking of a scenario where more women are working. There again, the lifestyle changes, the aspiration changes. So we are talking about one of the most attractive market, and as the economy grows, there would be more people coming from the bottom of the pyramid and moving up. That becomes such an attractive destination for all the fast-moving consumer goods, and especially the food processing. If we just compare with our neighboring Sri Lanka, our per capita consumption of processed food is just about 20% of what they consume. So that is where the consumption is. Now in India, we are the market leaders in tea. But if I compare the per capita consumption with my previous job, which was in North Africa, Middle East, it is half that of Saudi Arabia. Or look at the penetration of our Kisan ketchup, where we are the market leaders, and only in the urban centers, it's just 25%. If you look at soups, where we are again the market leaders, it's just 5%. So our job, Mr. Kant, as the industry would be first and foremost to create the demand. That's our job, is to very clearly identify the unmet need. The second would be to fulfill the demand. It has to be based on something which is tasty, nutritious, safe, and affordable food. And the third would be to set up an ecosystem which helps bring the produce from the farm to the fork and helps India meet two of its critical missions: more income to the farmers and a thrust on Make in India, which will give a huge fillip to creating jobs and the industrialization. And for a company like ours, which has been in India for decades, we also have one more responsibility, Mr. Kant, and that is institution building. We have to be partner of the government. This is not something that the government can do alone. Just to give you an example, we started an initiative under the auspices of FSSAI and with CII, which is to bring science to food safety. We call it SHIFTS. And we believe, as a global corporation, we have a lot to add when it comes to safety, science to food safety, or in helping manage the environment. That's the role we have to play.
Thank you. Thanks, Sanjeev. We have with us Mr. Peter Boone, who's the CEO of Metro Cash and Carry. And Metro Cash and Carry has already 24 operational wholesale centers in India, and it will be opening 50 wholesale centers in India by 2020. Mr. Peter Boone, can you tell us what has been the impact of GST on cash and carry? And tell me, how do we integrate our Kirana stores with cash and carry?
Thank you very much. First of all, Honourable Minister of Food Processing Industries, thank you very much for inviting me here today, and Honourable Minister of Finance of chairing this session. let me give you an answer on both questions. But first, a small introduction on what we stand for, because we are not decades yet in this country. We are one of the largest international retailing companies. We operate in 35 countries around the world and employ more than 150,000 people. We achieved a sales of over 37 billion in the last financial year. And our focus is on its core competencies in the field of B2B and food services to become the champion of for independent businesses. And we do that through the sale and procurement of products as well as services, and in the latter part, capturing particularly the opportunities in the digitization, offering digital solutions for our professional customers. In India, our journey started in 2003. And yes, correct, we have currently 24 wholesale outlet centers, but I think that's important to highlight. 8 of them we opened in the last 24 months. We realized a turnover in the last financial year of close to 800 million euro, and that's an increase of 15%. And yes, the objective is to double our footprint when it comes to the number of stores we have in the country. You asked me, what do we do for Kirana store owners? There are 12 million Kiranas here in the country. And for Kiranas, next to our products, we deliver services. And therefore, we offer trainings on assortment, stocking and marketing, adding to the knowledge that has been passed over generation. Furthermore, we provide them loans for the development of their business. And we help them, additionally, the retail formats to stay competitive in the backdrop of the expansion of modern retail in this country. So, we are supporting independent business people on the supplier as well as on the customer side. And we live up to our ambition to become the champion for independent business. You asked me, yes, okay, what has now been the impact of the GST? I think it had a little bit of a hiccup in the beginning. Nevertheless, we are of the opinion that it will create much more transparency in the way business is conducted, and it will create a larger opportunity in order to serve, for us as a wholesaler, more and more small and medium-sized formats. And in that respect, I can only conclude that India is for us certainly a preferred investment destination, whereby Metro is going to be your long-term committed partner. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Boone. We have Mr. Kim Fossing, who's the president and CEO of Danfoss. Danfoss is a Danish company, more than 100 countries spread all over. And it works in the field of cold chain and refrigeration, climate energy, power infrastructure solutions. Mr. Fossing, I wanted to ask you that there is so much of a demand for processed food in India. We've been pushing for this, but what do we need to do to build up an efficient food supply chain mechanics with all the backward-forward linkages? What are the 3 critical things India must do for this?
Yeah, thank you very much, and also, first of all, from my side, thank you very much to the honorable ministers and the distinguished participants here. So, what do we need to do? So, maybe first, very shortly, what Danfoss is all about is really to develop technologies and the technologies of tomorrow in order to build, for instance, the cold chain in an energy efficient way. So we invest heavily in that job here in India, and that is for, I would say, more than one reason. Let me mention a few of the reasons. First of all, the urbanization that is taking off with the speed you have described, combined actually with an incredible amount of food loss due to an ineffective cold chain. We think this is a big challenge and a very inspiring challenge to really solve that. So we need to invest in bringing the right technologies to do that and really connect the farmer all the way to the fork in a good and effective way. And we actually see here the very good initiatives here in India on that. I mean, if we look at the favorable policies that is supporting this, there's several
like Make in India or Digital India. But I would say in this relation, really important initiative, we see the double farmers' income, where we can see good progress by really working hard to educate and work with the grassroots projects in the country, really close to farmers. We have really good examples. One example, to be very specific, we have seen after working with partners in Gujarat or Tamil Nadu or Andhra Pradesh or Punjab, we have, for instance, one example where one farmer, have increased the price from 1 kilo bananas from around the 5 rupees to 15 rupees. So we really believe this initiative can be realized, and we see really our role in doing that. So to your specific question, we think we need to invest. And we are here because we like to invest. It's for various reasons. The favorable policies, which are getting much better. I think ease of doing business has increased incredibly, and it increases our appetite to invest further. And the strong urbanizations. These are really good reasons why to invest together, and always in a cooperation between all the players, from the farmer through the whole system. I will just conclude by saying, what this really means is that we need to build pack houses in the farms, cold storages, collection centers, food parks, like we saw very nicely also in the movie and the film, food processing centers, juice manufacturing plants, dairy processing, and reefer trucks that can sort of work across the breadth and the length of the subcontinent. So if we do that, this is a fantastic chance of creating a gigantic industry, and for sure India as the food factory of the world.
Thank you, thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, we've kept the best for the last, and that's Mr. Irwin Simon, who's President and CEO of Hain Celestial Incorporated. And Mr. Simon is, he owns Tilda, which is a very popular basmati brand worldwide. And he's also into a vast number of unique things. He's into marketing better for you. He's into organic, natural organic products. He's into a vast number of toddler and kids food products. Mr. Simon, what is the future of basmati, value added? And what is the future of natural and organic?
Thank you very much. It's nice to be here, travel all the way from New York. And thank you, Mr. Minister and Honorable Ministers, for inviting me. 5 years ago was my first trip to India. I knew nothing about India. I knew how to order chicken tikka masala or basmati rice when I went to an Indian restaurant. Over the next couple years, we will invest over $300 million in India. And we've recently just announced a joint venture with the Future Food Group to build food manufacturing facilities in the food park. 3 years ago, we bought Tilda, one of the largest basmati rice businesses in the world, to ship all around the world, and one of the greatest brands. And most consumers did not know what basmati rice was. It was low glycemic index. When you mentioned basmati rice and you said it was gluten-free, they looked at you. It's gluten-free? It's rice. It has to be gluten-free. And basmati rice is one of the healthiest rice that is grown today. 90% of rice today from Tilda does come from India. And actually, what Tilda is doing today is working with the farmers, and over 2,000 farmers, how we remove pesticides from basmati rice. Because one of the things, if you see on a can of pesticide, please wear protective clothing when you spray it on the product, but it's okay, you eat the product. In 1993, in the US, I started a food company that was going to change the way the world eats. And that was to create foods that were free of pesticides, organic, natural, to feed infants and toddlers their first food. Hain Celestial today is the largest natural, organic, clean food ingredient company probably in the US, if not within the world. And today we hear about sugar in soda. We hear about some of the other ingredients, high fructose corn sweeteners, hydrogenated oils. There's a bad job done of a lot of the food companies out there today that have put bad ingredients in their food, and there's lots of change going on. There's 26 million new babies born in India every year. It is so important for us to introduce them to good, healthy foods, because one of the biggest causes of health issues today is food. And the Honorable Minister talked about how food is such an important part of our lives. It was great to hear the Prime Minister talk about what India is doing in regards to organic foods. And one of my biggest challenges out there in growing Hain to a Unilever or Nestle is getting supply of organic food. Working with the farmers in India, that will help us do that. Another major word mentioned today was sustainability. Isn't it awful when we drive through the streets of India and see plastic bottles everywhere? How are we going to get rid of garbage? How are we going to get rid of sustainability? How are we going to improve the sustainability of food? So it's my commitment and Hain's commitment, along with the Future Food Group, to invest in India and look for the next 40 years, not the next 4 years. Thank you for your invitation today.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have really run out of time, but we've just time for two quick, sharp questions. You can shoot them at any panelist. Yeah, quick. No, not you, him. Yeah, please. Quick. No, please sit down. Yeah, go ahead and shoot. Get up and ask. Whom do you want to ask? पूछो भाई. अरे आपकी आवाज सुनाई जा रही है, बोलिए.
Hello, I am Sunil Kumar from Kejriwal Honey. I am into organic food for last 10 years and 22 years into food. So my question to Mr. Amitabh Kant only, what is the government vision on organic
ask
food?
the panelist, any panelist.
Yeah, my question to Mr. Simon, how do you see India as an organic destination? What scope do you see in India for organics?
Opportunities for organic. Right now, we are focused on organic rice, organic coconuts, organic pomegranate, and basically what we're doing is cleaning the fields and changing them over to organic over the next 3 years. And the government of India wants to work with companies to do that.
Any lady with a question? Lady, you're not a lady. Any lady with a question? Okay, no one. So that we've run out of time. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for this.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being with us. We will start the second plenary session at 2 p.m. sharp. Kindly be in your seats by then. Our next session will begin at 2 p.m.
every month. We do corporate activations at a very large scale. And we also have these monthly subscription hampers, which consumers get to try food products. And this food is where we started, but we're also going to go into beauty products and other products. Writing to you.
Write to me. It's very easy. sanjeev.mehta@unilever.com.
This is my card. I represent the biggest exporter of honey from the country.
You're the one who raised the question. You're famous for that.
Why are you running away?
Thank you, sir.
So I'll write into you, Sanjeev, and I would love to catch up with you one of these days if you have time.
Sure, certainly.
Two. Pardon? Speech तो नहीं है. It's not in this, not here. I have no. There are 6 halls. This is the plenary hall.
मैडम आप करते क्या है मैडम? मैडम एक्सक्यूज मी.
ये ऑन है.
Doesn't take a photograph or video of the journalist. It is a press meet. You are taking photograph and videos of.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will be starting with the next session. I request you to take your seats. I request the panelists to kindly come on the stage and take their seats. है. Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Minister has arrived. We will now begin with this session. Good afternoon, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. On the occasion of World Food India 2017, a very warm welcome to the second plenary session, a conference on One Nation, One Food Law, enabling regulatory environment for investment in the food sector. We are honored to have with us on the dais Sadhvi Niranjan Jyoti, Honorable Minister of State for Food Processing Industries, Shri Pavan Agarwal, Chief Executive Officer, Food Safety and Standards Authority of India, Shri Devendra Chaudhary, Secretary, Department of Animal Husbandry, Dairying and Fisheries, Government of India, Srimati Preeti Sudan, Secretary, Department of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India, Shri Ashish Bahuguna, Chairperson, Food Safety and Standards Authority of India, Shri Avinash K. Srivastav, Secretary, Consumer Affairs, Government of India, Mr. Martin von Nieuwkoop, Director, Agriculture, World Bank, Ms. Listra Antoine, Chief Executive Officer, Global Food Safety Partnership, World Bank, Mr. Varun Berry, Managing Director, Britannia Industries Limited, Ms. Geetu Verma, Executive Director, Foods and Regional VP Marketing, Foods South Asia, Hindustan Unilever Limited, Mr. Paul Stennett, Chief Executive, United Kingdom Accreditation Service, Dr. Kenneth Peterson, Senior Vice President, Quality Assurance and Regulatory Affairs, OSI International LLC, Mr. Ashim Sanyal, Chief Operating Officer, Voice, Mr. Knut Ostergaard, Head of Department, Danish Veterinary and Food Administration. I first request Sadhvi Niranjan Jyoti, Honorable Minister of State for Food Processing Industries, to kindly make her opening remarks.
एक देश से खाद्य कानून खाद्य क्षेत्र में निवेश के लिए सामर्थ्यकारी इस सत्र में पहले तो मैं माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी का बहुत बहुत आभार व्यक्त करती हूँ, धन्यवाद देती हूँ कि इस शुभ अवसर को उपलब्ध कराने के लिए माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने स्वीकृति दी और आज हम सब लोगों के समक्ष उन्होंने इस उद्घाटन भी किया। इस तृतीय सत्र में श्री देवेंद्र चौधरी जी, सचिव पशुपालन डेयरी, श्रीमती प्रीति सूदन जी, स्वास्थ्य एवं परिवार कल्याण सचिव, श्री आशीष बहुगुणा जी, अध्यक्ष भारतीय खाद्य संरक्षण मानक, श्री पवन अग्रवाल जी, मुख्य कार्यकारी अधिकारी भारतीय खाद्य संरक्षण एवं मानक प्राधिकरण, सामने बैठे हुए बहनों भाइयों, एक देश एक खाद्य कानून खाद्य क्षेत्र में निवेश के लिए सामर्थ्यकारी वातावरण बनाना, क्योंकि यही एक सेक्टर है जिस सेक्टर में हम लोगों को रोजगार भी दे सकते हैं, खाने की शुद्ध उपलब्धता भी करा सकते हैं। इस विषय पर आज के सम्मेलन में मैं आप सबका हृदय से स्वागत अभिनंदन करती हूं और आप सबका आभार भी व्यक्त करती हूं। बाहर से आए हुए डेलीगेट का भी स्वागत करती हूं कि अंतर्राष्ट्रीय वर्ल्ड फूड इंडिया के फ्रूट के संबंध में चर्चा होगी। हम एक राष्ट्रीय खाद्य नियम में उत्कृष्टता के लिए प्रयास हमारा मंत्रालय कर रहा है, हमारी सरकार कर रही है। भारत में खाद्य संरक्षणता के क्षेत्र में बहुत आवश्यकता है कि हम लोग भारतीय खाद्य संरक्षक और मानक, ये दोनों को बहुत ध्यान में रखने की आवश्यकता है। और मुझे खुशी है कि आज इस सत्र में स्वास्थ्य विभाग से भी हमारे सेक्रेटरी हैं, क्योंकि मानक यही लोग तय करते हैं। सामर्थ्यकारी व्यवस्था को सुचारू रूप से संचालित करने और सुनिश्चित करने की व्यवस्था में अपेक्षित आयोजन और संरक्षण मानक बने हुए हैं। ये बीच का संतुलन बनाए रखना निवेशकों और जो मानक को तय करते हैं उनके बीच में तालमेल होना बहुत आवश्यक है। हमारा मंत्रालय प्रोत्साहन देने और बाजार में जारी किए जा रहे बड़ी मात्रा में खतरनाक, जिसका माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने भी सुबह जिक्र किया और बहुत सारे देश के डेलीगेट ने इस पर चर्चा की, जो बाजार में स्वास्थ्य की दृष्टि से बहुत खतरनाक उत्पादकों को रोकने के लिए यह मंत्रालय फूड प्रोसेसिंग के क्षेत्र में स्वास्थ्य के साथ कोई खिलवाड़ ना कर सके, इसके लिए हम आप सबको चिंता करनी पड़ेगी। FSSAI नियम बनाते समय समग्र रूप से खाद्य गुणवत्ता और पोषण खाने योग्य भी हो और शरीर के लिए पालने वाला भी हो। कई बार खाने में टेस्ट अच्छा लगता है लेकिन शरीर के लिए नुकसानदेह होता है। हम बनाते वक्त यह भी ध्यान रखें कि हम जो चीज बना रहे हैं, शायद आपको याद होगा मैं पूरे देश में अन्य देशों में मैं गई, मैंने एक ही बात कही कि भारत बाजार नहीं है, भारत विश्व को एक मार्केटिंग के रूप में नहीं देखता, भारत विश्व को एक परिवार के रूप में देखता है। और यह जिस तरह से अपने परिवार की हम चिंता करते हैं, ऐसे ही विश्व में कहीं भी हमारे भारत की बनी हुई वस्तु जाए, उसको स्वास्थ्य में रख करके स्वास्थ्य का ध्यान में रख के काम करें। हम खाद्य प्रसंस्करण उद्योग को प्रोत्साहन देने वाले मंत्रालय के रूप में घरेलू एवं अंतर्राष्ट्रीय निवेशकों द्वारा प्रकट की गई चिंताओं को समझना चाहते हैं। और ये जो सत्र है, ये सत्र इसी उद्देश्य से है कि हम इन समस्याओं को समझें। मैं उन बिंदुओं का भी ध्यान आपकी तरफ आकर्षित भी करना चाहती हूँ और आपसे भी विचार विमर्श भी हम लेना चाहेंगे। उन बिंदुओं को पैनल के समक्ष विचार के लिए रखना मैं अपना दायित्व तो समझती हूँ। एक संतुषण मुक्ति जो हमारा कच्चा माल होता है, कच्चा माल यदि गुणवत्ता युक्त है तो बनने के बाद भी अच्छा रहेगा, और कच्चा माल अच्छा नहीं है तो गुणवत्ता बनाने के बाद भी नहीं आ सकती। गुणवत्ता युक्त आउटपुट का उत्पादन करने के लिए प्रसंस्करणकर्ताओं के लिए कच्ची सामग्री भी प्रदूषण से मुक्त होनी चाहिए। ये सुनिश्चित करना चाहिए कि हम जिस क्षेत्र में काम कर रहे हैं हम अच्छा काम करें। हमारे देश में या विश्व में कहीं भी किसानों के लिए अहम मुद्दा है कि किसान की फसल की दूनी आय कैसे हो सके, हम उसको प्रोत्साहन कैसे दे सकें। तो आवश्यकता है कि जो पद्धति किसानों की है, आधुनिक पद्धति भी और पुरानी पद्धति, हम दोनों को लेकर के चलेंगे तो हम जरूर उसमें कामयाब होंगे। खेती पद्धतियां प्रोटोकॉल आवश्यक है बल्कि इन पद्धतियों को अपनाने के लिए व्यापक जागरूकता अभियान भी आवश्यक है। पता लगाने की क्षमता अंतर्राष्ट्रीय बाजार में उपभोक्ता की मांग रही है कि यह मांग खाद्य उत्पादकों के अलावा और भी कहीं ना हो। मैं एक और बात मंच के द्वारा बोलना चाहती हूँ। मैंने अपने निजी जीवन के अनुभव से, क्योंकि आज शहरों में खाद्य सामग्री सही न मिलने के कारण कैंसर, ब्लड प्रेशर, शुगर और ऐसी बीमारियां आ रही हैं कि डॉक्टर भी नहीं पता लगा पा रहे। तो हमें आवश्यकता इस बात की है कि अधिक से अधिक ऑर्गेनिक खाद की तरफ लोगों को, किसानों को प्रोत्साहन दें। मैं इस कार्यक्रम के माध्यम से औद्योगिक खाद्य उत्पादनों के बढ़ती हुई मांग को, जो ऑर्गेनिक खाद है, हम बाहर भी गए तो लोगों ने कहा कि हमें भोजन वो चाहिए जिसमें खाद न पड़ी हो, जैविक खाद पड़ी हो। भारत को इस अवसर का लाभ उठाने के लिए तैयार रहना चाहिए, जिसके लिए प्रमाणीकरण और निगरानी तंत्र की जरूरत होगी ताकि ये मजबूत बने रहें। मैं भी इस क्षेत्र में, आप सब लोग यहाँ आए हैं, ये 3 दिन तक कार्यक्रम चलेगा। आपस में विचार विमर्श होगा, सुनेंगे भी, सुनाएंगे भी, और ये सुअवसर है भारत के लिए कि एक अंतर्राष्ट्रीय मंच उपलब्ध हुआ है, जिस मंच के माध्यम से प्रोसेसिंग के क्षेत्र में हम बहुत अच्छा काम कर सकते हैं। तो मेरा निवेदन है कि हम जहां भी काम कर रहे हैं, और मैं गर्व से कह सकती हूं, जैसा कि बाहर से हमारे राष्ट्रपति जी ने एक बात कही कि भारत को 70 वर्ष हो गए, शायद प्रोसेसिंग के क्षेत्र में इतनी गहनता से काम किया गया होता तो आज भारत पिछड़ा नहीं होता। मेरा देश फ्रूट के मामले में, सब्जी, साग, फल पैदा करने में दूसरा नंबर है, लेकिन आज हम बहुत पीछे हैं। इसको आगे ले जाने के लिए हम लोग आगे आए, और मुझे खुशी है कि आज फ्रूट के क्षेत्र में काम करने के लिए बाहर से बहुत सारी कंपनियां, बहुत सारी सरकारें आ रही हैं। मैं उन सब का धन्यवाद देती हूं, और आज के इस सत्र में हमारे जो सेक्रेटरी सचिव हैं उन लोगों का भी धन्यवाद देती हूं, और आप सब का भी धन्यवाद देती हूं। और एक ही बात मैं कहा करती हूं, यदि तुम ठान लो तारे गगन के तोड़ सकते हो, यदि तुम ठान लो तारे गगन के तोड़ सकते हो, यदि तुम ठान लो तूफान का पथ मोड़ सकते हो, और यदि तुम ठान लो तो फूड के क्षेत्र में विश्व में अपना इतिहास रचा सकते हो। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
आपका बहुत धन्यवाद। I now request Shri Pavan Agarwal, Chief Executive Officer, Food Safety and Standards Authority of India, to kindly tell us on the theme of this session.
Honorable Minister for Food Processing Industries, Sadhvi Niranjan Jyoti ji, Shri Ashish Bahuguna, Chairperson, Food Safety and Standards Authority of India, Secretary Department of Animal Husbandry and Dairying, Shri Devendra Chaudhary ji, Secretary Department of Health and Family Welfare, Shrimati Preeti Sudan, other distinguished panelists, both from India and abroad, on the dais, dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen, and friends and partners from the food businesses from across the world. At the outset, let me convey our heartiest greetings on behalf of the Food Safety and Standards Authority of India to the delegates of World Food India 2017. I would also like to place on record on behalf of FSSAI, as the Honorable Minister mentioned, that this mega event has potential to be a game changer in the food processing sector in the country. We in FSSAI, as the principal regulatory authority for food in the country, would like to play a supportive role in this effort of the Ministry of Food Processing Industries to bring about this transformation. But as you all recognize that as a public health regulator, we also have a task to fulfill. The mandate of the Food Safety Authority of India is to ensure availability of safe and wholesome food for 134 crore Indians. And that is the task that we have been given by the law that was enacted in 2006. We are merely 6 years in operation under the new law, under this integrated food law, food safety law in the country. Over these past 6-7 years, we have tried to look at issues of food safety and providing wholesome food, nutritious food to our citizens in a comprehensive manner. I bring to you a short film on what we have been able to do so far over the past few years. So can I request for play of this film, please?
Is safe, hygienic, and nutritious? Thankfully, there is one organization that cares about the food we eat. An organization that is committed to ensuring that our food is safe and wholesome. An organization which is building a new India, a healthy and happy India. Established in 2008 under the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, the Food Safety and Standards Authority of India, or FSSAI, is the single point of reference for all matters related to food safety and standards in India today. Our mandate is to ensure safe and wholesome food for all citizens everywhere at all times. Safe, wholesome and hygienic food will create Swasth Bharat. This has to be the cornerstone of the efforts of FSSAI. Our mandate stands on 3 key pillars. 1. Setting globally benchmarked standards for food products and processes. 2. Soft touch regulation, building capacity and a culture of self-compliance. And 3. Nudging citizens to eat safe, eat right and be smart food consumers. First, FSSAI sets comprehensive standards for both food products and processes of food production. For this, we enlist the help of the country's most eminent scientists and experts and take into account the latest developments in food science and technology. These standards are globally benchmarked and allow the industry to create new food products, thus promoting innovation in the food industry. Food safety cannot be assured through standards for finished food products alone. Equally important are standards for food processes. Thus, we have specified procedures and practices to be followed by food businesses to actively control hazards throughout the food supply chain, from farm to fork. Every food business operator is required to have a documented Food Safety Management Systems or FSMS plan and to comply with Schedule 4 of the FSS Regulations 2011. Next, FSSAI believes in ensuring that these standards are met and adhered to through soft touch regulation.
Laboratory, as we are doing elsewhere in Europe mainly. Second point is to reduce the rate of GST for this equipment, which is today 28%, because the customer are the villages. Villages sell milk without GST. The rate is 28%.
Now getting ready